you everyone for joining us tonight, those of us in person and everyone on Zoom. I think we'll start the evening by approving the minutes from last month. It was April 25th. The minutes were distributed, and so I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, great. Starting with you, Judd.
Approve.
Yes.
Yes.
I was absent, so I won't vote.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. All right, and the first case is Sorolnik, 19 Matheson Park. Do we have them with us?
There's like 3 different names and.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, this is Andrei Sirolnik. Jack is here with me. And I
Oh.
see that, are you waiting for our architects?
I'm trying to promote Brad as a panelist and doesn't seem to be going.
Looks like somebody.
Brad, I'm trying to promote you to a panelist. If you can please accept.
Yeah, there we go.
No speak.
Huh?
Go ahead, speak. Just sit here.
Hi. Hi, good evening.
Good
This is-
evening.
This is Rad Opachich. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. We're having a little audio problem. We're trying to get Tricia to join us. Could you give us 30 seconds?
Sure. Were they trying, what are they trying to do? Do you know?
It was a modification, it's something that was.
Decrease learning.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can get started? Is there somebody you're waiting for or trying to?
Actually, well, why don't we just start? We're having audio issues, but I will take over. How's that?
All right, that sounds great.
Can you
Thank
turn
you.
the cameras on?
Camera on. Can you see me?
There. Yeah,
Yes.
now.
you can.
Hi there. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good.
My name is Rad Opachich. I'm the principal of Opachich Architects, and I understand that Andres and Jackie Sorolnik are with us. and this is 19 Matheson Park. We were in front of this board back in September 2021 and received approval. Then the pandemic and all those wonderful things were going on, and the supply chain problems and construction material spikes, the clients decided to postpone the project for a bit. And then, as with everything else, when we looked at it again, some new ideas came about, and a slight modification of the first floor plan is in front of you today. Matthew's going to share the screen with us. Matthew, can you bring up the... I'd like to go over this with you. This is a overlay plan that shows in red the previous plan that was approved, and in black is the plan that we are presenting to you today. So in terms of the house, the footprint has slightly altered. Let me just grab control of this. Okay, do you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of the floor plan, this footprint here, pretty much as you saw it previously, and this in here as well. The change is the garage has been adjusted so that we have a ramp going up to the mudroom, and that gives us access to the elevator that's here, taking us up to the guest room above this portion of the building. Also, we previously had a family room / cabana in this location, and now it's only a cabana. The family has decided that they have a beautiful den up on the second floor, which will act as a family room. In terms of the site, the major change is the pool, which was oriented parallel to the house on the long axis, has been rotated 180 degrees, mainly to get it out of the view or from the center line of the breakfast room and onto the center line kind of that works with the cabana. So from this center line, the patio, which is next to the pool. And as a result, we've got more play space for the children in this part of the garden. So those are the kind of the major changes that we've adopted. You can see that the shrubbery on this side has moved over a bit, and the equipment for the pool has shifted over a little bit, which I think is a benefit for our neighbor back here. Other than that, everything else, the driveway has shifted a little bit, but it's the same configuration. And that's pretty much the main moves. Oh, the other important thing is the hot tub used to be here, and now we moved it on this side of the pool, which again is a benefit to our neighbor back here.
And
In
what
terms-
is,
Sorry?
in terms of your coverage numbers?
In terms of coverage numbers, previously, the coverage numbers are the existing lot coverage is 8.9% of the lot. The proposed lot coverage is 9.8, which brings us to the proposed greater than allowable at 20.4, and previously the approval was for 20.5. So we're a fraction less than we presented to you last time that when we received approval back in 21. So we're still seeking the variance for the coverage, 22.4.13. And one other thing, the same as last time, is we have two gates into our pool garden. One is on this side of the property, the other one is here. This one encroaches onto the rear side setback by 3.3 feet, and it's 6.5 inches over the height limitation.
Okay.
So we are here in front of you again, and we ask that you respectfully consider our request for variance.
Any questions?
Well, this says this is a continuation. It's not a continuation. It's a new application, right? Because it expired. Right? I don't know if that makes a difference. Well, it does make a difference. But also it just lists the coverage variance, not the side yard, which you just said he needs as well. Did you need a second variance for side yard, you said?
Yes, for the gate. It is in our letter to you, but in the notice for this meeting, it was omitted.
And did you did renotice the neighbors?
Yes, we did.
You did, but it was noticed, was it noticed to the neighbors as coverage or and side yard setback?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Okay. So, right.
Right.
And let me also ask you, last time, because it was about, what, 2 years ago, something like that, that we saw this. Were you before us for both coverage and side yard setback?
Yes, for the exact same two issues. Yep.
Okay, so really, when we're talking about side yard setback, we're talking now you've put the pool in a different place. That's how it would sort of affect us this time around. So in other words, you're not putting more coverage in the side yard setback, are you?
We're not putting more coverage in the side yard setback. No.
But it wasn't properly noticed.
That's right. It's apparently true. And we've been pretty adamant about that, without exception, through the years.
I remember the gate height. I don't remember the side yard being in the prior application.
Yeah,
Can we
which
check
is
that?
why I didn't remember that either, which is why
I remember the
must say
gate
I
just because
didn't
it's
focus
such
on
a
it.
weird rule.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't see what the prior application actually has to do with this application. Like, this is a new application.
Right.
Right, so whatever we did in the past.
Right.
Is gone. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, there is some precedential value to it.
Right.
sure, there's a lot of
No
precedential
doubt about
value,
that.
but
Right.
you're right, it is a new application.
With new members too, I guess you could argue.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while, right?
But are we all agreeing that it was not properly noticed? Is that
Well, I think it wasn't.
right? So,
Yeah, it was not to the public, you mean,
Yeah,
obviously to
well,
the neighbors it
they-
was.
they
It wasn't
count.
Even to us, yeah, it's the problem.
Even though our letter that went to the neighbors mentions both of them.
yeah, but it didn't go to the general public as Charles here
I see.
correctly notes.
Right, Sarah, this was exactly what was sent for public notice, right? What was
On the agenda.
Yeah,
I think it's rather simple. He's got to renotice it and redo it.
yeah, I think we've got to kick it down kick the can down to June. And I think we just said, I know, it's disappointing, but I just don't know what else we can do. I mean, we've been pretty strict about making sure that people have notice.
Whose omission was it? Was it ours or theirs? Probably.
Yeah, that's, it happens. Any other opinions on that?
So it's the side yard setback for the gate and the fence that's. Is that,
Yes, it's this gate right here. Here's the side yard setback, and here's our gate. And it's 3 feet, 3 inches over the setback, 6.5 inches in height over.
Is the pool in that that setback?
Yeah, but the pool setback is back here.
Wait, I'm not understanding that. So is part of, when you're asking for the variance for the side yard setback, is the
Mhm.
pool a part of that?
No, the pool is in compliance. This is the edge of the pool, and this is the pool rear yard setback.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's really just that fence.
It just is a little bitty piece.
I mean, if it was the, our issue with the notice and it's such a de minimis.
It's such a diminish, yeah, I was
Item, I'd
thinking
be
it was
in-
the pool. Gate is
Fine.
such a diminish. Yeah, and now that we've talked it through, I've remembered it now. It was not the pool, it was the gate being just sort of 3 feet over, right?
It's just this little bit.
We're going down a slippery slope if we start waiving notice requirements, in my opinion.
You know what, I would be with you on that, Artie, if it was a pool or something. This is like a 3 foot. And it was also very important to me, it was noticed to the neighbors. It's hard to see the general public having a real big interest in that gate being that far over.
Okay, but the next time it happens again, you're gonna have this same argument. We've not ever waived notice.
And excuse me, and the
Hi,
fact that it was,
Anybody hear me?
yeah,
Hi, can anybody hear me?
yes.
Yes,
Hi, this is Natasha Walko chiming in from Opatich Architects. I was having issues with my computer audio, so I had to switch gears, and I've been frantic trying to get in on this discussion. There was no variance requirement for the side yard for the gate. The issue with the gate is variance required for the rear yard setback, and we have that referenced in the zoning application. We had the two, the one for the coverage, which was for the 20.4 that we're requesting now, which is basically consistent minus 10 square feet with what we were asking for previously, and the encroachment of the gate on the rear yard building setback by 3 foot 3 inches. Both of those are specifically referenced on the zoning application, and I believe both are referenced in the notice as well that went to the general public.
that went to the general public. I don't think, it's not on our list is the problem.
Which list?
Show,
On what was sent to us,
The agenda for this meeting,
the
which
agenda. for
we
this meeting,
understand
sorry.
is what's emailed to the public.
Yeah, and when you go to the documents online, it only said coverage. You pull up the view of the documents.
No, the cover, the letter, the application page lists both of them because I took it verbatim from what we did previously. There was never a side yard setback variance required.
It's a rear yard setback. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
For building, for building setback because of the gate, because it exceeds the 6.5 feet height, and where the rear yard building setback traverses at, the angle of the property, it bisects the gate. So 3 foot 3 of it, because it's over the 6.5 feet or whatever the height limit is, it's escaping me at the moment. 3 foot 3 inches of it exceeds or is beyond that building setback, and therefore it exceeds and requires the variance. And I mean, we noted it because we knew we needed it from the previous application. It wasn't even something that came up with the building department or with the planning board when we got the current approval updating what we had previously approved.
Right.
But I think if that was the same variance request for the setback a couple of years ago that we approved, even if it doesn't affect this application, but it's another indication that the public
Well, it doesn't matter what happened 2 years ago.
No, I know, but
The
it's
no-
just
But the notice to the neighbors and the notice to the public are different,
correct.
okay?
I understand.
So like, I feel like there's no decision to be made here.
Well, I would agree completely if it was an error on the part of the applicant. I kind of have a hesitation only because it looks like they the application properly and but
The law doesn't distinguish between the two. It's not proper notice. It's not fair. And again, just because
How-
this one doesn't, let me just finish that it's not fair to the neighbors and the citizens of the village. They deserve to have proper notice. Whoever's fault it is, okay,
I'm sorry.
we're asking just.
Can
for-
Can someone
So 30
explain where the failure in notice is? How is it not properly noticed?
It's not noticed, as we can tell. It's a 30-day, you can adjourn it for 30 days and do it the right way. That's
Well,
my opinion.
But I don't understand how it wasn't noticed properly.
I don't know either, but the fact is,
Where was the mistake?
it was omitted apparently.
On where?
From the public notice of this meeting.
From the notice that we sent out?
No. From the public that was published by the village. When they published this meeting, it wasn't published as a rear yard setback.
Okay, but so our client's being penalized for something the village failed to do?
Possibly.
Would your client rather have this thing challenged in court by somebody which is far fetched and then this whole thing gets thrown out down the road? I mean, do it right and do it right
Well,
the first time. It's our fault. We
Obviously,
apologize.
but obviously we wouldn't want that, but we made every effort to do our due diligence, and any neighbors that would have been notified in this instance about it are the same neighbors that were notified previously about it, and no one had any objection. So I don't mean to be argumentative about the issue, but we're trying to, keep this moving forward. Our clients have been, laboring over, what they want to do and making the best decision for, the work that they want to do and the investment they want to make in the property. And so we're just trying to do our due diligence to keep that all moving forward so we don't lose momentum.
It's a little disingenuous since it sat for 2 years, don't you think?
Well, I
Wait,
mean,
wait,
I would
can I
beg to
comment? Can I
disagree with
comment?
that because,
Please, Natasha, can I comment?
Of
With
course.
all due respect, we already rented a place and we have to move out. Besides that, again, with all due respects, I think that the team working with us have done their due diligence. If there is a mistake in the part of the buildings department of the office, at a minimum, I think we should be able to find a solution to keep this moving forward while notice is sent. In addition to that, I have walked with our neighbors through the backyard to walk them through every detail as far as 2 weeks ago to make sure that everything is okay and discuss with them also the timing of construction and how this was going to affect them. I have no objections from anybody, and we can call them. But this is, again, with all due respect, not on us.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one, and I hate to disappoint you because I know, believe me, I'm sure all of us at some point have been involved in construction, and it involves delays and it involves hiccups, but I just think something improperly noticed needs to be properly noticed. And I fully acknowledge that this was not your fault, but I just think these are the kind of bumps in the road that are going to happen. Occasionally, the village is going to make a mistake. I mean, it just happens. It's, humans work there. But I think we've got to kick this one down to June. as already said, it's 30 days. It's been a long time already. I know that adds to your frustration, which I feel and completely understand, but it just wasn't properly noticed, and I think it's got to be properly noticed for us to consider it. So
That-
Okay,
that's okay.
so,
I will accept
how-
whatever,
Can
but
I
I'm
ask a
also
question?
hoping that mistakes occur on the other side, you're as forgiving. And I'm not sure
Yeah,
that that's
so
the
how do
case.
we, because obviously the board has decided how they want to proceed. So how do we guarantee that this mistake does not reoccur in June?
Sarah, if this were published, like how far in advance is this published?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So let's say 2 weeks before the meeting, they noticed it was a mistake. Could they contact you and have it re-noticed, or is that a deadline that's being missed? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, they have to be noticed, the public notice has to go out, I'm sorry, I said 2 weeks, but, it's 10 days prior to the meeting, so it's done a couple days after the deadline.
Okay. So I would say just make a phone call to the building department 2 weeks before
Mhm.
this next meeting and just double check the language, maybe ask them to share with you what they're gonna publish, and that way we'll all be on the same
And-
page.
Right.
Can
And
I
where
ask
does
a
this
que-
get,
can I ask a
where does
question?
this get published? Go ahead, Brad.
In the journal news.
Can I just ask one last question before we
Yep.
move on here? Given that we have this unfortunate situation, is it possible for us to go to the Architecture Review Board in advance of the next zoning board meeting?
I don't think that you need our variance to go before the architectural review board, right? Isn't that true? They could,
They should call the building department.
yeah, why don't you call the building department? I think it's entirely possible that you could go to the ARB and then come back to us, because we are very often the last stop. So if the ARB is something you need to do anyway, we really wouldn't, I don't believe, be holding you up. But I would call the building department tomorrow and ask Ed Marin.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So hopefully this actually, if you still need to go to the ARB, I am hopeful that this is not much of a holdup for you at all. And we can get this back on track in June. And again, I do apologize, and believe me, people make mistakes on both sides all the time. We deal with it as accommodatingly as we can. But we do need to make sure that the public knows what's going on. We're not allowed to do things in the dark. That's just the bottom line.
Okay,
So I apologize, and we will see you next month.
thank you for your time. Good night.
Mhm.
Thank
Thank
you. The next one is Jane Oyama, which is 5 Harriman's Keep. That's the one that we got late. We got the materials we had asked for late. So that's going to have to be an adjournment as well, because we didn't get materials on this, right?
Right.
Okay, so we are on to Sewanee 33 Osceola Avenue.
So this was adjourned from the last meeting, 5 Harriman's Keep.
Yes,
How many times can it be adjourned?
twice.
Okay.
Yeah, so it can be
Right.
twice without notice.
Right.
The third time they'd have to renotice it. Hello,
Hi, how are you? Good evening.
good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Let me just pull up these. I'll start with this one. See if I can share my screen. There we go. Let me know when you can see this.
Yes.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, I will zoom in and just give a quick overview of what we discussed at the last meeting. So if you recall, this is application 33 Osceola Avenue to legalize an existing concrete pool patio that predates the current owner. The coverages are very high. As we discussed last week, I went back and met with the owner and we looked at various ways that we could give back more of the patio, meaning remove more of it. If you recall, we were removing a section where it violated this existing sewer easement. We've increased that area. The problem with that is that we've basically taken as much as we could, because if you can see where my cursor is right now, there is a diving board there. So we do need to keep some of the patio around the diving board. We also look for ways to cut back on the patio. And unfortunately, we've pretty much taken as much as we can. I'll get to the numbers in a second. Because we do, as you can see, you come out of this part of the house and there's basically a path that leads to this patio area where there's some patio furniture and pool furniture. And then it's basically just a path that goes around the edge of the pool over to where the diving board is. So for safety's sake, I think we need to keep this as a patio, just because of wetness and people slipping and things like that. I think there needs to be some kind of a solid surface that people can walk on. So we wanted to give back as much as we could. And I think by cutting it back, except for this little belly piece where the diving board is, we've done that. If I take a look at the numbers, again, the current patio is about 1,000 square feet. The previously approved patio is just, again, I'm going to round up and say it's about 300 square feet. And then I believe, going off the top of my head, the previous application was about 170 square feet that we were removing as a result of that, the sewer easement. And then we increased that piece to a total of about 280 square feet. So not quite doubling it. That was our goal, to really double the 170 that we were giving back. But we got as much as we think we reasonably can. So all in, it's a net add, if we take away the previous patio, of 423 square feet. The numbers are still pretty high. But again, I would like to have the board consider this, mostly because we are doing everything we can to minimize the impact. I think we've done as much as we reasonably can. I also want to point out that it is an existing condition. It has existed since, judging from the documentation that we could find, since the late 80s. So it's been here for a long time. It's also well fenced. This fence line that you can see on the plan is a solid fence. So it's not visible to the neighbors unless you see it from above. It is also a 4-inch concrete patio that is at grade level. So it is not impactful to the surrounding properties.
Any questions from anybody on the board?
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I mean, look, it's an unfortunate situation because it really is high coverage. This would be a good example of the applicant making a mistake by buying a property that has an unimproved pool on it, or at least unimproved coverage on it. But look, short of getting rid of the pool, I didn't see much other coverage on that property that we could get rid of. It is low to the ground. You are giving back probably about as much as you can reasonably do without really changing the usefulness of the pool. So I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll start with you, Charlie.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Okay, you are approved. I will send you out a letter by the end of the week.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I guess our last one tonight is Greenberg, 58 Ardsley Avenue.
That's still me. Just bear with.
Okay.
I will switch this up. Okay. Right, let me share again. Okay, let me know when you can see this.
Barely, but yes.
Yes.
There's
And
something up there.
I will zoom in again. Okay, so if you recall, this application is the Greenberg Residence, 58 Ardsley Avenue West. This is to replace an existing rear deck with a new deck. The new deck is larger. We would be removing the existing deck and constructing this deck in its place. Coverage calculations, this does require a coverage variance. Going back and meeting with the owners, trying to see ways that we could lessen the impact on this also. They've agreed to remove the play set, which is something. It's 40 square feet. It does count as coverage, so they've agreed to take that off. So it takes down our previous number. Again, it was 254 square feet of proposed add down to 214 square feet. So trying to lessen the impact. I know these numbers are pretty high. I did also provide a comparative analysis of the surrounding neighbors, which I will share with in a second. If anybody has any questions, I can flip to that slide.
So what are we talking about in terms of how far over are we going to be here?
Well, right now we will be, let me just pull this up here. So the minimum allowable is 2,770. The existing is 3,902. So the existing is already well over. The proposed add is 214 square feet, which is, in my opinion, minimal. And it barely moves the needle going from 17% coverage to 18%. So going from 3,902 to 4,116.
And how much over allowable? Percentage wise?
Let me flip to the other side. I've got those calculations on the other slide. Give me one.
Say almost 50%.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It has
guessing.
bad numbers.
Yeah, really good.
Because it's loading. Okay, let's see if you can see that.
Well, see that you share your screen, maybe you can zoom in on this too.
Yep, I'm going to zoom in. Yep. So this is the analysis of the adjacent properties. We did 13 properties. This is the subject property, 58 Ardsley Avenue West. So percentage of allowed is 141 for the existing and 149 of proposed. If you see, again, you know, one of the things I wanted to emphasize, and I know we talked about this last month, is the lot area, because it's in a 40,000 square foot zone. It's a lot that's only 23,000 square feet. Many of the lots in that area are also undersized. The average is 35,000. So it's well below the average. And if you look at the average percentage of allowed, it's 144. So we're give or take in that target range. We are at only 17% or 18% proposed. The average is 17% of the lot coverage. And again, I think it's the add of 214 square feet is minimal. In total, it would be a 524 square foot deck on a house that's over 2,000 square feet, over 3,000 square feet. So having a smaller deck on a house that size would seem out of place. And it's also an opportunity to make the deck not only right size, but more usable. The deck that's there now is small. The fact that it's actually falling apart is what drove the impetus to redo it and to make it bigger so that it had a little bit more usable square footage. And you can see also of the 13 properties that we analyzed, 11 of them are non-conforming for coverage.
Yes, you have a question.
Matthew, was this the,
Yes.
I'm trying to recall from last month, where neighbors also had decks, similar decks?
That was Harriman.
It was different, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
okay.
Any
So-
other questions?
Look here,
What is it, Matt? Is this elevated or at grade? I don't remember.
the deck is elevated. It's about 5 feet off the ground with a 3 foot high railing. The deck itself is about 5 feet above grade.
And was that,
Actually isn't a great depiction. It kind of plotted in gray, but you can see that the surrounding properties, except for this one, which is a huge piece of property, they're all pretty small on this cul-de-sac. Property is large and it's a split lot, so it is also pretty well over. But this is. See also, the nature of this cul-de-sac too, that there's good screening right here on this little piece. It's well screened. This property line is also well screened. This one is not. It's almost like these two neighbors shared the yard. So this neighbor that's slightly to the north is really the only one who's affected by it. And they've been friendly with the Greenbergs for years. And they have no issue with the deck. So it really, and again, I'll keep going back to the fact that it's a net add of 200 square feet, which is about the size of a good sized bedroom. So I don't see it as being overly impactful to the neighborhood. There are other small lots here. You can see this one on the corner. This is on the corner of Hancock. That's, it's a good sized house on a small piece of land. So it's not anything that's egregious in terms of a proposal or a major outlier for the other surrounding properties.
That every variance we grant impacts the entire village, in my opinion. So it's just not a matter of what the neighbor next door either approves or doesn't approve. It's far beyond that. What's the size of the deck existing versus now what you want to make it to be?
Let me just switch the screen again.
325.
Okay, so. Looking at the coverage calculations. Oh, here we go.
It's not the coverage, really the dimension. Is it 10 by 20, 20 by 30?
Oh, yeah, it's sorry, I have to switch the screen again. Sorry. It's a 10 by 20. Yes, I think it's 20 by 12, but I can get that for you if you just give me 1 second. I'll pull that one up.
so Matt, do you know if the existing deck was original construction?
It was, yes. Let me zoom in here. So 22.9 wide by 20 feet long. So of that 20 feet, I'd say about half of it is within this alcove of the house. So it only extends out about, of that 20 feet, it extends out about 10 feet from the line of the house.
And what do you want to make it now?
20 feet. The existing one was 14, so it's going out 6 feet. You can see this dashed line here. That's the line of the existing deck. So we're going out 6 feet longer.
So as Charlie said, if this was an original construction when the house was built, is that what you say?
This existing deck was, yes.
Okay.
It's not a terribly old house, is it?
No, it's actually
Yeah.
new. It looks old.
Yeah. Right. It's,
Oh, that's not nice to say.
It looks, it's meant to look like a
Going out
vintage.
to the public. Oh, don't talk about it. So the existing deck is legal, right? You're just going now.
Correct.
Got it.
It's documented.
right.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I apologize for no deck is illegal.
It's permitted.
Any other questions? No? All right. I'll make a motion. I wasn't really thinking of 40 square feet as a give back when we asked you to kind of come back to us on this. But I have to say that looking at the neighboring numbers, you're pretty squarely right in the middle of what the coverage is in that neighborhood. Even going up by 214 square feet. So I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Sure, second,
Okay, start with you, Judd.
Proof?
approve.
Yes.
Yes.
Makes a difference what I say then, but I would
Right.
say yes.
Okay.
No.
Charles and up. There you go. All right. Well, you are approved. And I'll send you out a letter by the end of the week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Picked up
Your
speed.
last meeting was kind of sweaty.
Yes, well, it's the chair ladies up there, but yes.
Yes. Yep, we're adjourned.